What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 82. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I cannot believe that we are, only 10 days into this World Cup? 7 days into this World Cup? It has already given us so many results we got to talk about. Feels a little bit like the changing of the guard in some respects. But how are you holding up? I see that you're kind of taking over the Portuguese airwaves these days.
Woo! Yeah, thanks to Sport TV. I'm loving to see that Mbappe. Great sponsors, man. They're going bold with us at FC Wonderkid. But we got to say, man, this World Cup, the stars are showing up in Qatar. And let's start with Messi, man, because everybody was saying that match against Saudi Arabia, where's Messi? He showed up. Big time against Mexico. Yes. And even the assist of Enzo's golazo, came from Messi. So I'm really loving what I'm seeing now from this Qatar World Cup. And Argentina, man, do you still consider them favorites?
I don't think you can discount them. I think that they have what it takes. They just haven't played well enough just yet for us to confirm that. We do have to remember that they had 36 games unbeaten before coming into this World Cup, before losing to Saudi Arabia. So let's be honest, Leo Messi was not there in the first half, and then in the second half he turned it on. Beauty of a first touch, fires it past Memo Ochoa. Memo Ochoa, there's even a picture of them afterwards. Giving him a little credit because Memo Ochoa couldn't stop that. But come on, let's be honest. While it was Messi's day for the most part, I think everybody is going to remember that Enzo Fernandez goal. That was ridiculous.
And you said first half Messi was a bit off. Second half, that's when Enzo came on and made the difference. And it will be criminal, if Enzo Fernandez doesn't start the next match for Argentina. It's more than noticeable now that he is one of the best young midfielders in Europe. Definitely, in my opinion, man. And in the Champions League, he's the key of Benfica. Who sees Benfica knows that. So he's going bold. And I got to say with Messi, too, there's one hell of a bold stat that Messi managed. And it's Messi is the first player in history now to have 5 assists. Messi is the first player in history to have an assist in 5 World Cups. World Cups. Not 5 assists. He's got much more than that, man. But Messi, oh my days, what a stat that is, man.
Well, I'll do you one better there. Thanks to Opta. Opta with a banger of a stat here. Messi is now both the youngest and the oldest player to both score and assist in a World Cup match since 1966.
He was. Come on, man.
he was 18 years old in 2006, and 35 years old now. No, but a goal and an assist in a game. That's the stat there. So that's pretty awesome. And you mentioned Enzo. Enzo being at Benfica and just automatically right into the 11. One of the best young midfielders in the Champions League. He does this everywhere he goes. When he broke into the 11 at River Plate, he essentially became one of the best midfielders in the Argentine league overnight, and then held that along with Julian Alvarez, and they both built their profile there. Then he moves to Benfica for a criminally low transfer fee. One of the best pieces of transfer business over the last, easily the last year, if not the last 5 years, right? And he immediately becomes indispensable for Benfica in their Liga B win, in their Champions League ambitions. And it's not surprising that he gets his chance, he comes in, and he takes his chance. He's been doing it everywhere he goes. And he idolizes Lionel Messi. And to see how happy Lionel Messi was for him at the end of that play, at the end of that goal, right? Jumping into his arms. It's not surprising that Enzo Fernandez at 21 is the youngest player to score at a World Cup for Argentina since Lionel Messi in 2006.
Oh,
there you go.
Enzo's going so bold, man. He's definitely leaving Benfica at the end of this season. Impossible for him to stay. And 80 million is the minimal amount that Benfica will get. I can assure you that exclusive by FC Wonderkid. For real, I can tell you that. Like minimal. And then you have the teams that need a midfielder like Enzo. United needs a midfielder like Enzo. Liverpool needs a midfielder like Enzo. And Man City, if Gundogan leaves, they certainly need a midfielder like Enzo. And they've already got Julian Alvarez, one of the star kids of River Plate. So I could see that happening. But on Argentina front, I just want to say this too. Rodrigo De Paul, like we're mentioning Enzo non-stop. And I have to say, I know De Paul is like the best friend of Lionel Messi, but he can't start ahead of Enzo, man. And McAllister too is better than De Paul. So this decision for me is clear. And another decision is that Martinez has to start every match for Argentina too. I think it's undoubtable, the passing quality that he brings, and he is just so solid for this team. So those are the two assurities. And Messi, like Messi too, like I just want to ask you too, like, is Messi really going to the MLS?
There is very credible rumors that he is going to MLS and that he is finalizing a deal to head to David Beckham's Inter Miami club. He loves Miami. I believe he already has a house in Miami. So it's not entirely surprising. I think maybe with how early it feels, right? You'd think he'd have another year at PSG, or I know everybody wants him to go back to Barcelona. I'm just not sure that's in the cards. I know. But Inter Miami, I think we got clout in the sense that we got financial clout, not heritage, but we've got financial clout, and I think that speaks to him, and it is a new endeavor. I think one of the things that you and I talked about offline is interesting to think about, because David Beckham, when he came into the league, instead of paying him out the wazoo a whole bunch of money and bankrupting the league, they paid him with a discounted expansion fee for his own club. I wonder if Lionel, 5 or 10, 5 or 10, something like that. I wonder if they're going to be doing something very similar for Leo Messi, even though the league is more financially stable. It has more billionaire owners than, a whole lot more than before. So it's really, really interesting to see it happen. If it does happen at the end of the Euro season, as it seems it's going to, I got to say, it feels too early.
I agree. I'd love to see Messi leaving PSG at the end of the season, going to Barca one season, and then being the highest paid player ever in MLS history and maybe football history if he's given parts of ownership of Inter Miami. I think he's going to bring so many eyeballs that 50% or 30% are numbers that are realistic, in my opinion. It all depends on the bargaining power. And if he wins the World Cup, I think any number, can be a blank check to Lionel Messi to go to the MLS. So and before a World Cup too, like in 2026, it's in the States. You guys are going very, very bold in the league. So we can transition now to US.
But before we move to US, I got to talk about it because I'm going to say something that'll surprise people, being obviously a USMNT fan. Mexico fans deserve better than Tata Martino. They deserve better than Tata Martino. I don't know what they were looking for coming into this World Cup. I don't know what their roster construction was. They have plenty of young, solid players that either should go abroad or be given the chance in the national team, like Omar Campos and Lainez, who's always gone bold in a lot of these, big tournaments. But it is insane to me, and this stat is kind of a double-edged sword. It is insane to me that Andres Guardado became just the 6th man to play in 5 World Cups. And are you ready for this? This is how in tune Mexico is with playing their veterans all the time. 3 of those 6 players that have played in 5 World Cups are Mexican. They're Mexican. Andres Guardado, Rafa Marquez, and an older guy, Antonio Carvajal. So they deserve better than Tata Martino. I think they should have made the move when Tata Martino got beaten not once, but like multiple times by the U.S., whether it was Gold Cup, losing to our B team, or it was the CONCACAF Nations Cup. they should have moved on from him then. And I don't get it. It feels, yeah.
And next World Cup, Ochoa's there too. I think Ochoa is gonna be in this Mexican team next World Cup too, man. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve that, but like, I could see that happening. Like, do you say right now that Mexico is behind the U.S.?
Yeah, I do say that. Yeah, I mean, on their best day, Mexico's a very good team. They're a very well-disciplined team, but they're also incredibly inconsistent these days. And they have a lot of injuries, and they have a lot of just really suspect, mostly not tactical decisions, but personnel decisions made by Tata Martino. So I would love to know what our Mexican fans think. I would love for them. I mean, my guess is, unless they pull off a win to keep their streak of going to the round of 16 alive, my guess is that Tata Martino will leave probably regardless of what happens after this World Cup. But it is weird to me to say that they deserve better, because part of me should be like looking at this and being like, yes, this is great. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see what they do after this World Cup.
So in the next World Cup, we might not see Tata Martino for Mexico, Didier Deschamps for France, Van Gaal for the Netherlands, Southgate for England, and Fernand Sanch for Portugal too, man. So a lot of and Tite for Brazil too. So a lots of managerial changes will happen until then, man. And yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. But will we see Greg Berhalter in the next World Cup?
Oof, it is half and half right now. I mean, let's kind of, if you look at US Twitter, right, which is a very dark place sometimes.
Dark times.
A lot of people don't like Greg Berhalter, right? And they don't like his decisions. They also don't like that there's a little dust up in camp with one of our most talented, highest ceiling players in Gio Reyna, who has kind of like Phil Foden getting 21 minutes for England. Gio Reyna has only gotten crap time for the U.S., so I hope he plays a big, prominent role in this showdown on Tuesday against Iran. But listen, Greg Berhalter, you can't argue with the fact that for the most part he's a defender, right? He was a defender in the league. We're somewhat defensively sound, aside from that Walker Zimmerman mistake in that first game. But against England, I don't know. I mean, you tell me. You watched it, right?
Yep.
I felt like we outplayed England in a lot of phases.
Facts.
In a lot of phases that game. And that midfield was won by Tyler Adams, Yunus Musa, and Weston McKennie, and with an emphasis on Yunus Musa and Tyler Adams. They were electric to watch. They were everywhere.
That midfield that's costs much more than theirs, with Jude Bellingham, Declan Rice. And I was so surprised with Musa, man. That seemed like the most important game of his life. And I'm not surprised, man. Most watched game in the U.S. ever. 15.3 million people, if I'm not wrong, watching this game, man. So hopefully with Iran, these numbers are surpassed for the U.S. men's national team. And I'm noticing, man, a lot more love from the U.S. People in Qatar saying, oh, we're investing in the U.S. men's national team. So so there's belief, man, in the future of the U.S. as it seems, man. But what I got to highlight, the player I'd like to highlight, though, is Jedi Robinson, man. Great left back. And I would be surprised if he stayed where he is. Timothy Weah, Musa, Jedi Robinson, all these three players, in my opinion, they'll get a move for these great performances that they're doing in the World Cup. In my opinion. Deserve it.
That's true. It's the wonderful thing about the World Cup. Some of these players that don't generally get the stage, if they're not Champions League or they're not whatever, the World Cup provides them with that stage. And I don't know how Leeds is going to hold on to Tyler Adams after this World Cup. And they could even get close to Calvin Phillips money for him.
I agree.
Right? Yunus Musa, I've been saying it for the last, 6, 8, 10 months, whatever, that he has the ability to change a game. And that he could wind up being the breakout of this World Cup. And I think he's well on his way to that. And here's the crazy part. In 2026, Yunus Musa is going to be 23 years old.
Ooh.
He'll be 23 years old.
He is
still So young, yes. And I'm going to say it right now. On the day, Yunus Musa outplayed Jude Bellingham.
Oh my days, man. And I can understand that on the day against the US England, man. That's bold though. That's bold though. But I gotta say,
on the day, we got to make sure I highlight that so people don't kill me in the comments. The day, he was better than Jude. But Yunus Musa is one. We have to remember, Yunus Musa was part of Arsenal's youth academy. True. He was born in England, and essentially, he could be a homegrown player, right? He stepped abroad to Valencia. I'd be really surprised if there aren't a couple Premier League teams giving him a shout right now, or wait until the end of the World Cup to give him a shout. But he deserves a move. Even though Gattuso probably wants to keep him.
Well, and understandable, like what great performances. And I gotta say this, man. On Jude, you mentioned Jude Bellingham, and I was thinking to myself, like, people were judging Birmingham for retiring the 22 jersey of Jude Bellingham, but people weren't foreshadowing Jude Bellingham being so good for England so early. And everybody now is going to remember his connection with Birmingham because they did retire the 22. So I got to say, great decision. And I will always defend now that retirement of that jersey of 22 because it will be an iconic number. I really believe in Jude Bellingham because if England wins the World Cup in the next 8 to 12 years, it has to be with Jude Bellingham on the field. And the other player is Phil Foden, man. Phil Foden is the most special talent in the England roster. Generational, no doubt. The player that offers the most creativity. And against the US, what was needed? Just that. So he's got to start, man. And Mount's elite work rate. I will take Sterling and put Foden. Mount, I will keep. Because Mount does a lot of dirty work. A lot. And trust the youth.
Sure. I mean, he's good in the half turn. He's good in those tight spaces. I understand why they started Mount on the day. Grealish, I've been relatively disappointed when he's come in. But listen, anyone that's giving Gareth Southgate a lot of shtick, and he deserves criticism for 21 minutes for Phil Foden. He definitely deserves that criticism.
And Tomori.
Well, that too. Yeah. But come on, Harry Maguire was the best defender on that field. Well, maybe Tim Ream. No, Harry Maguire was England's best player, without a doubt.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, I'll say that Maguire played well, but he played well once in 2 years. So this is like, as a football player, he's paid to do just that. And I understand some people backing him with England, but would Tomori not play at the same level given the chance more times? It's a big doubt in my opinion, man. But Southgate.
Well, I'm no Harry Maguire on that field. No Harry Maguire on that field. We score. No Harry Maguire on that field on the day. So I'm just saying. But Gareth Southgate, you can give him all the hell you want to give him. He's still got one win, one draw, and they're in prime position to get out of the group. So he's following a plan. He did the smart thing of, I don't think he underestimated the US at all. I think he purposefully gave us space, tried to hit us on the counter most of the time. So I still think England is good enough to go far in this tournament.
I won't pick England ahead of Portugal, man. I won't pick England ahead of Portugal, man. In my opinion. Would you pick England ahead of Portugal?
I don't know. I've only seen one game so far. So we'll see.
Would you pick Holland ahead of England?
No.
No? No. 1-on-1? I don't know. I think Netherlands could surprise. I know they're not playing the best football. Ecuador shocked. But that's the thing with the Netherlands too, man. That's another national team that we got to talk about. Because they're going to top the Group A. And Ecuador, we did warn the world that they were going to show up with Caicedo and then Valencia. You warned big time that he was going to be the best striker. I've got to say that now. 3 games. Now, 3 goals in 2 games. Rating history. And Qatar, man. First one to go. Host nation, the first one to go in this World Cup, man. Embarrassing times for Qatar. I gotta say that. That wasn't good, man. That wasn't good.
No, and it kind of now that we look back on it with 2020 vision, it was probably always in the cards. But when it came down to it, they are kind of too predictable. And I don't think Akram Afif, I don't think Almoez Ali, I don't think some of their big names, none of them showed up. True. And you got to say that. And I know Qatar having big names that we don't all know. These guys were good enough to potentially score a goal, right? Or
they can score.
They got one goal. They got one goal, right? Didn't they get a goal?
True, they did.
But listen, I do have to go back to Portugal for a second because I have not gotten your baseline thoughts on that 3-2 win. And more importantly, I mean, did your heart leap out of your chest when Diogo Costa almost threw that game away on X? I mean, here's what I loved about it. Cristiano Ronaldo, there's that video afterwards, him running up to Diogo Costa after the game, the whistle blew. They won 3-2. He went up, he said, smile, smile. We won the game. Your mistake didn't cost us anything. Get over it, basically. And that's what you got to do. Man. That's really what you got to do. And I loved seeing that. So
Krish is such a leader, Breton. Krish is such a leader. And if we're going to win this World Cup, it's with Cristiano's leadership on and maybe off the field if it's needed to. With Diogo Costa, I had a big surprise with that happening. But as you said, it didn't happen as a mistake. It wasn't detrimental, and we did win that game. And it would be a big mistake, in my opinion, if Diogo Costa didn't start the next matches for Portugal. We gotta still trust him because passing ability, he's one of the best in the world. Penalties, one of the best penalty savers in the world. And he's a great keeper. And he's gonna leave Porto for 75 million, just like Enzo is gonna leave Benfica too. So that's on Diogo Costa. I had a heart attack, a little scare, yes, but it all went well at the end. It's true. But
and just imagine if Inaki Williams did not slip.
True. Ruben Dias though was on top, man.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, so beside Diogo Costa, who do you want to see improvement from in that Portuguese team?
Well, this is the first thing I gotta say on Fernando Santos. Like Fernando Santos, if you don't play Nuno Mendes and Cancelo, the second option must be, because of performances this season, Cancelo at the left and Diogo Dalot at the right. What could have Diogo Dalot done more this season and two against Nigeria to get the starts if Nuno Mendes can't play? There's no answer, man. So that's why Dalot should be there. My second thing too is, okay, we're in a tough position, but William picked ahead of Vitinha? Like, I'm not saying William shouldn't play. I like him at the 6th role. I can play at the 8th at Betis, but with Portugal, with Vitinha, he must play, in my opinion, okay? He's so important. Or Bernardo Silva and Bruno in the midfield. That works too. Okay. That works too, because, yes, Bernardo Silva is a similar type player. But Vitinha, man, So, man, there's a lot of little things, man. But Krish, first player in history to score in 5 consecutive World Cups since 2006. Krish still wanting to prove the world that he's still ready to play football on a high level. And I honestly believe Cristiano is going to go bold in the next games, man. So, that might be hope, but I really believe in that. I
gotta open it up to our listeners here. Was that a soft penalty or not? I know you don't believe it was a soft penalty, but man, oh man, did that seem soft to me.
Or the goal that wasn't allowed. That wasn't allowed. A lot of people are saying that it could have been a goal. True. So it might have been karma with one. But Krish did win possession. He did win possession, though. So I know it could have been a soft one, but he did win. No?
Right. He was to the ball first, I believe. Yes, I think you're right there. And you can make the argument it was from behind. Yes. I hear that as well, but it still seemed like he was on his way down well before the contact was made. But, speaking of Cristiano going bold, is there any truth, seeds of truth, to this Al Nassr 3-year, $225 million deal?
The offer is real. I can tell you right now, the offer is real. 225 million is on the table for Ronaldo to accept. 100% that is true. But he's considering it. No decision is made, people, okay? And I really believe the outcome of this World Cup is detrimental in his decision. If Ronaldo wins the World Cup, it's real. It's real, the option of him retiring of football, okay? He has larger ambitions in his head, okay, as a person, as a businessman, and he would drop the mic to every hater if he just won the World Cup and went away. It does matter how you went, in my opinion, too. But, and I want to say this, too. Like, this is something positive. Like, Cristiano, with all this Portuguese team, I don't get the feeling that that Cristiano's against the youth. I really feel like João Felix, Rafael Leão, Antonio Silva had dinner, okay, in front of Cristiano Ronaldo when they were off, okay, a picture was released. So you can see Cristiano embracing the youth and the role that he is a mentor to guide the future of Portugal. Because the truth is, okay, before 2002, Portugal had only gone to 2 World Cups. And Cristiano changed the culture of football academies in Portugal. Like, youngsters starting to work harder. He inspired the youth, and he inspired the country. And big shout out to Mourinho too. So that's why I really believe that Cris is a very positive force. And I wouldn't be surprised, but in the knockout stages, if we see openly Cristiano leaving the field and Gonçalo Ramos replacing him in the 10-15 minutes. That can happen, and that would be kryptonite for many teams. And we gotta, and this is something too, man. Portugal's so stacked that we have to make a decision between João Felix starting and Rafael Leão starting. The man's always smiling, okay, before he scores goals. So I'd love to see Rafael Leão starting 100%. And it's interesting too that both players are rumored they're gonna get a move this summer, or in January too. We're stacked, man.
João Felix needs one. We know that. Rafael, that's kind of an
extension. Rafael deserves to be the most well-paid player in Serie A. That's what he wants.
The moment he got in that game, he changed it. So he's a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, Cristiano Ronaldo. My oh my, would that be interesting? I can't see him going to Saudi Arabia to play for Al Nassr.
I hope he doesn't. I really hope. I prefer him going to PSG.
And there's a little, and there's a little addendum I have to throw on that. You said that he has inspired change and inspired positive change in all Portuguese academies.
True.
I would make the argument he's inspired change all across the board. I mean, Alejandro Garnacho, that's his idol right there, is Ronaldo. And he wasn't in no Portuguese academy. So between Messi and Ronaldo, I don't know if there's ever going to be a better 2 players playing at the same time ever again in my lifetime. I mean, Mbappe and Haaland just don't have. I don't know.
It's different. Mbappe has it.
It is. It's
Mbappe has it, and he should have gone to Real Madrid. That's what I gotta say. And Cristiano, man, you were mentioning how he inspired, and I just want to say this too. Sorry, I with Portugal, just want to end up by saying, people, Danilo is out with 3 fractured ribs, so we're definitely gonna see Pep starting for Portugal, and hopefully, by the end of the season, by the end of this World Cup, we will see Portugal starting with Diogo Costa, Nuno Mendes, Ruben Dias, Antonio Silva, and Cancelo at the right. And Vitinha in midfield, hopefully, too. So I really believe that Antonio Silva, with Pep, he's got longevity. He's 39 years old, but can he play every single game 90 minutes? I don't think so. So, and Danilo out, Ruben Dias will want to get that special link-up. And he played very well against Nigeria. At given moments, Antonio Silva was outshining Ruben Dias. So, and that's big time. Wow. And he's going to leave Benfica for more than 60 million. Been informed that. Not going to listen to any bid less than that. That's fucked. Okay?
Well, there you go. I think we should go back to Kylian Mbappe for a second because the man alone, the 23-year-old alone, reverse the curse. Okay,
He did.
Not just the World Cup group stage curse, or the former winner curse, but also their recent terrible form against Denmark.
True.
Mbappe scored both goals, right? Like this is like his impact for Les Bleus is up there. You ready for this? With Diego Maradona for Argentina, with Lionel Messi. They both have the same amount of goals, World Cup goals. And
he's got one more.
Messi has one more. I thought Messi has 7. Does he have 8 now?
8 now.
He has 8. All right. Well, Mbappe will get it next game.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on. Like, he's 23 years old. He's got 10 years or two and a half World Cups, right? To do this again. And you also, with that France win over Denmark, I think it's pretty clear that one of the best midfielders in this tournament so far, and this is probably not that surprising, has been Aurélien Tchouameni. He has been out of this world to the point where a lot of people, you almost don't. It's hard to.
Best midfielder.
It's not
best midfielder.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
it's like not showing up in the stats, right? But like he has clearly taken that step to like, what's the word? Consistently world class. He's consistently world class now.
It's true.
It's impressive.
And that's
it's impressive.
And if you see the second goal of France against Denmark, it's Tchouameni to Theo Hernandez, fast break, combines with Mbappe, and he makes it happen. Yep. So, or it's the first one. The first one, I'm sorry. The first goal. But I agree with you. Tchouameni, for me, is the best midfielder until now in this World Cup. Absolutely vital. And he's showing up. Why? He's showing why Real Madrid paid those 80 million to get him to Real Madrid. And it just makes me think, man, why didn't Kylian Mbappe go to Real Madrid, man? Especially with Tchouameni performing the way he is. With Vinicius Jr. there. With Benzema there. Mbappe would be the favorite, considerably the favorite, to win the Ballon d'Or. Even with Haaland going the bold as he is. I would still put Mbappe ahead. And yes, you said it. Mbappe has 7 World Cup goals in 9 games. And he's already surpassed Thierry, that has 6. And he played in 4 World Cups, man. So that just shows how fast of an impact he's having. And at 19, 4 years ago, people noticed him big time against Argentina with 2 goals in the round of 16. And that was very bold because he knocked out Messi. Messi in the World Cup. So that one-on-1. Then he wins the World Cup deservingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And Les Bleus have now won 6 in a row, 6 World Cup games in a row. And they're doing it with that next man up mentality. I mean, no better of a kind of microcosm of what we're talking about here than Lucas Hernandez tearing his ACL.
True.
And Theo Hernandez taking over for him, and he's already filling his brother's shoes incredibly well. In 1.5 games played, he's got 9 key passes and a couple assists. Oof. Like, Theo Hernandez has been pretty vital to them. And then we also got to talk about Antoine Griezmann.
I knew it.
Because Antoine Griezmann for Les Bleus is a different human. Like, this is a different player.
Free roll. Free roll.
Yeah, free roll. And it's fun to watch.
That's where he shines, man. The Shams knows.
And yet, do you think that they could repeat?
I think they definitely can repeat. But if they go against Argentina, Portugal, or Brazil, it all makes it happen to the other side, maybe. I'm not gonna. Let's see. It all depends on who they get.
Who's stopping Mbappe on Portugal?
Antonio Silva. He did against PSG. He did against PSG. And with Ruben Dias next to him, that can be better than Otamendi link up. And Otamendi, great player too. I just gotta say that. But I just want to say with Griezmann, going back to Griezmann, I really believe Griezmann with this free roll position makes me think that one day we might see Griezmann going to PSG. Especially if Neymar leaves, if Messi leaves. I think Mbappe is going to say, I want Antoine Griezmann. Just see how we play in the national team. And it makes total sense. So that is just a bold prediction I wanted to put out there. And no doubt in my mind, Griezmann is the best player of the French national team in form until now next to Mbappe. and next to Mbappe.
And then
so
and then you look at his club. Then you look at his club form, and you just what's happening here?
It's him. And
why
him
is this
Felix.
happening?
Him and Felix, Griezmann and Felix. Like for Atletico, they're one thing. For Portugal and France, respectively, they're going so bold.
Something else.
And like, how is Simeone the most well-paid manager in the world? How? I can't even believe it when I say it, man. It's just nuts. Like
there was a time that come on, when he won La Liga title, right? We might have said, but consistently, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't get it.
But
I don't get it.
Giroud, man. Giroud, he's equal to Thierry with 51 goals. But shout out to Giroud, but we all know eventually Kylian Mbappe will be surpassing him, becoming the top goal scorer for the French national team. And that's why he's so scary, because Mbappe is inevitable. He can play in the three corridors. He doesn't like to play striker. Just put it at the left wing. But he can do everything. So any role and just put him with that. So I just wanted to say all that with Mbappe, man.
Oh my goodness.
Put in the comment section, people, if you're listening until now, who's the best player in the World Cup until now, in your opinion? Is it the top goal scorer, Kylian Mbappe? And then Valencia bold mention, put in the comment section, man. I just want to see some people with that.
Enter Valencia, though. Every time he scores a goal, he keeps coming off with an injury. So I keep wondering whether or not we're going to see Enter Valencia again. This time, I think he was actually not carted off, but he was actually put on a stretcher and taken off. So we'll see with that. Yeah. But I do got to bring up.
You're mentioning injury. Should we mention Neymar?
Yes.
Should we mention Neymar, man? Neymar's out. Neymar, as some people are saying that Neymar is going to be back for Cameroon. And I've heard reports that Neymar is reportedly 24/7 in the physio room. Marquinhos said it. And you got to respect that. And it just shows how important this World Cup is for Neymar. Because if Brazil wins it, he can retire for the Brazil national team. And people don't understand how much hate Neymar suffers in the Brazil media, man. So not getting the Ballon d'Or too.
It's a different animal, that's for sure. But Neymar being injured allows a certain somebody to step up. And we haven't seen too much of him yet, but yes, Rodrigo. And I'm excited to see Rodrigo. He's going to start. I mean, if they beat Switzerland, right, they don't necessarily need Neymar back for Cameroon, right?
I agree. Yes.
Kind of like get it done against Switzerland and then give Neymar a little extra time. That's 6 days away, I think. So it'll be interesting. And man, I mean, like you saw the size of that ankle. That ankle was nasty.
It was horrible. And Danilo's reportedly out too for the whole World Cup. And that just and everybody, Militao's gonna play right back. It's not Dani Alves. Yeah. Militao's gonna play right back. And I think that's the best decision that they can do, Brazil, with Danilo out, in my opinion.
Okay.
It has to be. And I've heard reports too that Fred's gonna start. But I'm not saying guarantees. I heard just some reports.
Well, Fred under Tite has been pretty good.
Different,
right?
I agree. Different.
So,
Richarlison, man. I think we can say right now, Enzo Fernandez, Argentina, and Richarlison goes to the tournament. They're definitely going to be in the top 3 goes to the tournament. In my opinion. I'm saying definitely, but I'm thinking we might see a Ronaldo moment. I don't know. But
great moments. 100% Richarlison has cemented his spot, obviously, as that striker. I mean, he just gets himself into those positions and he puts them away. And he's annoying as hell to mark and to play against. So Brazil's got the right guy up top, and it was that goal was pretty phenomenal. I don't think I'm not sitting here and going like, oh my, could Brazil actually crash out without Neymar? Nah, I think they'll be fine.
Fine to win. Fine to win.
Well,
get out of the
it depends on when he comes back. If he comes back round to 16, and he's fit and good to go, 100%. 90%, whatever, because nobody's ever really 100%. I think they'll be fine to make
if Brazil goes
run.
against Uruguay. without Neymar. Are they fine?
Yeah. The way Uruguay looked.
You hesitated though. You hesitated.
I hesitated. I hesitated. The way Uruguay looked, yes, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, they brushed aside Serbia's best 11, right? They brushed aside Serbia as if they were kind of nothing.
True.
Right?
That is true.
Am I wrong in saying that?
First half was tough in my opinion. But I think the second half, Brazil immediately, when the Neymar turned up, Vinicius Junior turned up so big time. And that's the thing too. In 4 years' time, the main player of Brazil might be Vinicius Junior. Or Hendrik goes so bold that he will be already in like the discussion of the Ballon d'Or. That wouldn't be so shocking if you know the talent of that Hendrik possesses. So I love to see that, man. Now Brazil, they got options, futures there, but it all depends on how they play with the next manager after Tite. I want to give credit to Tite because he gave a lot of union to this team, and especially with the whole political situation in Brazil, having union in this team. And there's players that Neymar supports Bolsonaro. So there is different beliefs in the group. So just seeing the manager having a strong group union, gotta give credit to Tite. And a call-up like with Dani Alves helps with that. So every decision makes sense in my opinion. And this Brazil team is still my favorite to win the World Cup. So hopefully you don't go second.
Yeah, you don't think Dani Alves is a little bummed he's not starting over Militao?
I think he knows what he's there to do. I think he knows what he's there to do.
I think you're right.
He's there to help the mentality. And I would hope if Pep's not the same Pep in the next game, I hope he does the same and helps a player like Antonio Silva like go bold. Because Ruben and Antonio might be the best decision too. So both 39, man. Pep and Danilo.
Yeah.
And Dani Alves.
Yeah, Dani Alves, yeah. Danilo's like, no, don't make me older. You're talking about Brazil and you're talking about the political climate in Brazil. How about Iran getting that win, that shock win in the late stages of that match versus Wales?
Where's
effectively.
Bale? Where's Bale?
Where's Bale? Exactly. Where's Bale? He only draws penalties, I guess. No, just kidding. But Mehdi Taremi, it's got to be said. Mehdi Taremi is the best striker in Group B in form right now.
Where's Kane?
Yes, exactly. He's better than Harry Kane as it stands, and he's definitely better than Kiefer Moore, right? And Haji Wright or Josh Sargent. So no, Mehdi Taremi is not only it does not only provide the Iranians some sort of an offensive threat, but he also is essentially the playmaker. I mean, you look at it, everything flows through Taremi, everything. So it's one of those things where the USA has their destiny in their own hands, right? Everyone's been saying this. It's you beat Iran and you're in. Exactly. Wonderful. Well, just beating Iran is not, this is generally a defensive team, generally a very well-disciplined team. And Carlos, and not only that, we've poked the bear a little bit. Jurgen Klinsmann, our former U.S. men's national team coach back in the day, and obviously a German legend, he made some comments about Iranians. Now, I think he meant soccer culture or footballing culture, but he said that they were like cheaters and that they did like mind games and they did like time wasting and all that stuff, and that it was part of their, you ready for this? Culture. He just said culture, which
I'll be honest, in Europe
it's
you see a lot of lower
culture.
Leagues doing time wasting. It's very common for you to see, and I might say I see it in Portugal. The keeper getting that odd injury, the center back all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I need a stretch. That's very often. And you see the manager just smiling.
But did you see what Carlos Queiroz did after that?
What did he do?
He invited Jurgen Klinsmann to come spend time with them. I think he took it as Jurgen Klinsmann saying it was actually their culture, whereas we have to remember English is not Jurgen Klinsmann's first language. So my guess is there's a lost in translation type of thing here. Or either way, it was a pretty dumb remark to say. Carlos Queiroz invited him, and then he said, "Oh, but we also would like for you to step down off of whatever FIFA council you're on before you do that." Basically saying he's fueling the fire of this U.S.-Iran, showdown on Tuesday. And guess what? After losing 6-2 to England, Iran has their destiny in their hands as well. True. They just need a draw or a win, and they're in.
And Taremi can go big time. Can go big time. And Porto fans are all expecting Taremi to show up in that game, man. And if Taremi does become like one of the top goal scorers in this World Cup for Iran, like he's gonna get a move. He's gonna get a move. Yeah. Like the marketing he's getting to, like I really like that player. And then Valencia with Fenerbahce, Taremi with Porto, Enzo with Benfica. There's Musa with Valencia. There's a lot of moves that are gonna be made because of this World Cup, and Way too is gonna move because of this World Cup. So I like that shout out that you're doing. But you're mentioning a striker with Taremi. I want to mention, deservedly so, another striker that scored his first goal in the World Cup. Robert Lewandowski.
There it is.
And what a golazo that was, okay? Showed how good of a poacher he is. And Szczesny inspired him to do just that, man. That penalty save against Saudi Arabia was so clutch. And I loved seeing Poland. Zielinski too scoring with that assist to Lewandowski. Everything is switching on now with Poland. So I want to give them credit. Second place, as it seems.
Absolutely. It's just still so amazing to me that is a milestone for Lewandowski, right? That is his first goal. But you're right. Saudi Arabia gave him a gift, but he still had to put that thing away. And that was just wonderfully done. And I think you're right. The best development out of that Poland win was actually Peter Zielinski getting on the score sheet.
Facts.
Right? Because I believe, a lot of people have been saying he doesn't play as well for Poland as he normally does for Napoli. They need him really to fire up so that it's not just Lewandowski on an island most of the time, right? And
Lewandowski equaled like the record of Pele, scoring in 77 goals, international goals, man. Like Lewandowski equaled Pele's record with 77 international goals. That is so bold. And for a Polish player, a Polish striker to do that just shows how much in history he will be long term. So I hope he goes both for Barca, man, against United in the Europa League, folk.
Yeah,
sad times with that, but
we talked about Robert Lewandowski not being on an island, right? You know who feels like they're on an island right now?
Costa Rica?
Maybe. They are an island, right? No, Kevin De Bruyne.
Facts.
Kevin De Bruyne. First off, we'll talk about Morocco in a second. But Kevin De Bruyne decided to make some statements that basically said we're too old, we've lost a lot of players, and there's no way we're going to win this World Cup. Right? He said that.
That's facts.
Yeah.
It's facts, man. Lukaku,
it's facts.
So much of a bad player now. Hazard, so much of a bad player now. That just shows the frustrations he has of these players. He's like, golden generation? No, man. This is the retirement generation, man. Like, what?
But you're throwing your players under the bus during the tournament. Save that crap for after the tournament. That's ridiculous. Come on. Then they go out and they get 100% outplayed by Morocco.
I feel you. I feel where you're coming from. But don't you think like Kevin De Bruyne would expect Trossard to be put in ahead of Mertens? Like, I know Mertens is a legend, but Trossard is balling out. Why don't they just put Charles de Ketelaere if they have to youth players that want to change the history and the course of action for Belgium, man? It's like
all of them were on the field at some point versus Morocco, and they all got outplayed.
Last 50 minutes.
Roman Saiz, probably one of the best center backs in this group right now. They were disciplined and they hit Belgium on the counter a couple times. And could you imagine a Morocco without Hakim Ziyech?
True.
Right? Like back in February, after he didn't get on the AFCON team, he said, I'm done. It's over. Right? And fast forward 9 months, and here he is. He is the game changer for Morocco, and they control their own destiny now. And it was cool to get to see Zakaria Abu Klal also get a goal. He's a 22-year-old from Toulouse, used to be at AZ Alkmaar. But when it comes down to it, like we all know that it's facts what De Bruyne is saying, but really, there's a better time to do that.
I agree.
That just shows, and it's not like he's been lighting up the field either. He has not been very good.
I know, and even that Man of the Match award, like De Bruyne didn't really deserve it too. So I really think he's just frustrated with the whole thing. And like even seeing Lukaku talking to him off the field, like saying do this, that, and the other thing, he must be like, what the hell, man? You should be playing. You're disappointing me, man. And once again, I gotta say it. To Courtois and to De Bruyne, Eden Hazard and Lukaku didn't do justice for this generation, man. And they disappointed. Number 2 in the FIFA rankings, Belgium, man. So, and it's not shocking for who knows football that Morocco won this match, okay? Because I'm going to say this, man. Morocco, in this World Cup, has the best fullbacks playing until now, with Mazraoui at the left and Hakimi at the right. They've been absolutely deadly and vital for any Moroccan results. So I really wanted to say that because they're balling out, those two. Balling out.
And that was I 100% agree with you. And that was their first World Cup group stage win since 1998. And they have a chance. Morocco has a chance, a good chance, to make it through to the round of 16 for the first time in 36 years. How cool would that be?
That's crazy, man. That's absolutely crazy. And that can happen, I agree. That can happen.
Yeah.
And Hakim Ziyech, just like we say with Pulisic, Hakim Ziyech, like, he's got to get a move, man. He's got to play more. He deserves that. And he's a star boy, man. Ziyech he can pull the game out of his feet at any given moment. It's so good.
Ajax will come calling again. They pulled back Bergwijn. They pulled back a whole bunch of different players.
Blind.
Come on.
They pulled out Blind back too. Blind.
Yeah. I could see that. I could also see him going to like Serie A.
Milan.
Napoli,
Milan or Juve?
Milan.
Yeah. They Napoli competing with Zielinski. That would be so many options. Eli Feldman's there too. Kvaradona with Ziyech. I'd love that.
Yeah.
I'd love that. But my last mention here in the pod on my end, man, I gotta say, Costa Rica, man. First shot in the World Cup, and Keisha Fuller scored it, man. He took the risk, and they went bold against Japan. I was not expecting that result. Japan surprised the world, and now Costa Rica surprises Japan and the world too. So, karma.
We knew the Ticos were better than what they played. That first game versus Spain.
They played bad too Japan.
Oh god, they didn't play very well either. But they did what they've done previously, where they gut out wins. They know how to gut out wins, and they know how to break down people. And Japan had no ability to break down their low block. Right? They had no ability. I don't know why you don't have a guy, an insane dribbler like Kubo, on the pitch to try and break these guys down.
Minamino needs to start for Japan next to Kamada. It's shocking. What does Minamino need to do to play for Japan? To start for Japan, I'm sorry. That makes no sense. Makes no sense in my opinion, man.
But like on a whole, you bring up a good point. Like most of the CONCACAF teams have not been faring very well, right? I mean, we've scored, let's see, a couple CONCACAF teams have scored like a couple open play goals, maybe 3 now. Alphonso Davies got Canada's first World Cup goal ever in the 2nd minute, and then they proceeded to give up at least 4 goals. I don't know how many more, but Croatia then kind of put on. They basically were a little naive to think Croatia wouldn't come back at them, right? But it was fitting at least that it was Alphonso Davies. That's for damn sure, because Alphonso Davies is the face of this young Canadian squad that's, in my opinion, only going to get better,
True.
assuming that John Herdman stays in the role. But they are the first CONCACAF team that is actually out. They're gone.
Ooh.
So
the
but
US,
the
US needs to prove them right.
They do.
Jonathan David, man, you said it, like he should have taken that pen maybe, yeah, right?
He absolutely should have. But then again, that was the game to win. Belgium looked kind of on the ropes at some point, and I don't know, man. I don't know.
And Tijan Buchanan, want to mention, I'm saying players are going to leave in the future. Like, he went to Club Brugge, and Tijan Buchanan is putting on a show, okay, when he's playing for Canada. And that's another player, too, that I think he's going to move. And Jonathan David, too, man. A lot of teams need a young striker. Get Jonathan David, man. Next to the likes of Neymar, Mbappe, and Messi, the top goal scorer in Liga, just get David. And he will cost less than 50 million. So that would be a great buy for any Premier League team, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he might go for a little bit lower at this moment because he did not have a great World Cup. He did not. They've got one game left. But Kyle Larin looked like a guy that hasn't played in a very long time because at Club Brugge he has not played in a very long time, really. So yeah, they're going to need to continue their development. But all in all, I mean, Canada, you got to applaud them for how they play the game. It's a lot of fun. They are like Jack Russell Terriers sprinting all across the field, like just nipping at your heels at all times. They're fun to watch. And anytime Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David share the field together, it's a lot of fun. But I would have liked to have seen CONCACAF do a little bit better. So we'll see. It could very well be that by the end of this group stage, Costa Rica, Canada, gone. USA, gone. Mexico, gone. It could very well be that every CONCACAF team winds up out. I mean, based on how Mexico has looked, they look terrible. Based on how the U.S. looks, there's some promise there. We'll see.
You're the hope of CONCACAF, man. And I'm going to say, you're the one that looks best, in my opinion. And Weah, I'm going to reiterate, Weah, for me, is the player I'm most surprised with the U.S. on that right wing. On that right wing. I remember him being at Celtic, and you were telling me at the time, Weah, if he gets it right with the club he goes to, if he gets the form right, we are so lucky with the U.S. And you were absolutely right with this call. Because Weah will be one of the key players for the U.S. men's national team in 2026.
Absolutely. The majority of this team will be 27, 28 years old, right? Or lower. Come 2026, and there will be other names that will be coming up. So
I can say this too. So I really wanted to say this, and I forgot to say this too with Portugal. And this is why I'm so bullish with Portugal with our future. It's in terms of position, we're locked up for 10 years with Diogo Costa at goalkeeper, Nuno Mendes at left back, Antonio Silva at center back, Vitinha in midfield, Gonçalo Ramos, like João Félix, Rafael Leão, Dalot. All these players we know in the next 10 years, they will be called up for Portugal because they got the quality to do so. So that's why I really believe there's a real chance that I can see Portugal winning a World Cup in my lifetime, man. I really believe that. I gotta believe in that scenario. So, yeah. Just wanted to and Fábio Carvalho, Fábio Vieira, so many players were not even called too. And they would be called if they were, let's say, U.S. in this case.
Sure.
So
yeah, and let's be honest. In 2026, I'm sure there's going to be a whole new crop of players that are going to give Gonçalo Ramos or Fábio Vieira, Vitinha, give a lot of these guys a run for their money.
True.
Because if there's one thing that is very productive, it's those youth academies.
Facts.
But my last shout. Because you went down this rabbit hole for like a little bit and we didn't stay on it for a bit. But one of the other players that is having himself a tournament is Cody Gakpo, right? We kind of knew it was going to happen, but like there's no guarantee when a guy with club form comes in and he automatically just carries that club form over. But like. He has. There's a lot of rumors going on. I believe Manchester United has a pre-agreement deal with him.
I
right?
can see that. Cody Gakpo to United is very real.
Very
huge.
Real.
With Eric Ten Hag there too. I can see that happening.
But this kid, he's 23. He has 33 goal involvements in 31 games for club and country in 2022. Just impressive.
That's
really impressive
right there,
stuff.
man. Like
it's great.
That's insane. And how much is he gonna cost? 50 million?
Yeah, if that.
Bargain.
It is.
And he's always been at PSV. So he's not like he's been in a lot of clubs, man. He's one club man. So whoever gets him is the second club. Oh, my days, man. I think United are going to lock him up. Considering the past, like so many Dutch players that are idols in the Netherlands, like I'd say they're definitely Van Persie, Van der Sar. Yeah. I could see that happening. I could see
and
Malassia's there.
Van Nistelrooy.
Van Nistelrooy, true.
The
manager of PSV. So he must be saying, like, go to United.
Yeah, he probably is. And who made all of this pursuit that likely will wrap up before the end of the World Cup or right after the World Cup, who made it more likely to happen and allowed Manchester United the latitude to go out and start really going after their targets early. It's Cristiano Ronaldo.
True.
Ronaldo walking away from the contract.
True.
And not necessarily. I think he. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he gave up 17 million in compensation.
True. He did give up. He knew what he was doing with that interview, and I gotta say, his legacy at United, like the team last year, he carried Man United, and that's fucked. And this season, I think he made the decision, and I'm gonna help the future of Man United in terms of I'm gonna be Cristiano Ronaldo. I am going to be the number one enemy of the Glazers of Man United. I'm going to show how they didn't invest in the club. I'm going to show the bad decisions they made. And I'm going to vocally say that they should sell the club. And look at what's happening. Happening. The Glazers are going to go. So Cristiano Ronaldo, at the end of everything, will still be a legend for Man United. Because he exposed the truth. Oli partially said it. Ralph Rangnick partially said it. Cristiano Ronaldo revealed everything. The incompetence of Man United throughout the years. It had to be said.
The fans have always known, though.
True.
The fans have always known.
Ferguson never denied it. Never denied it. And Ronaldo must think, like, if I had gone to Man City, would I have better numbers? He would have. Before Haaland, because Man City right now is Man United 10 years ago. Best manager in the world with Pep Guardiola. At the time, it was Sir Alex Ferguson. Best facilities at the time. Every player would wanted to move to Man United at the time. And now, let's see, where does Jude Bellingham go? Man City could be the case. And Haaland picked Man City. So they need change. It needs change.
Or Jude Bellingham, Liverpool still? That can
huge. Happen. Could happen. Liverpool need investment, though. FSG needs to sell the club before next summer in order to get Jude Bellingham definitely in the locks.
Yeah. Well, it's a good time to sell after Todd Boehly paid a nice premium for Chelsea. So and that's the thing is the Glazers are still, we have to remember, whether they leave or not, and it's looking likely that they're going to leave.
They are.
They're laughing their way to the bank. Come on. I don't want to pour cold water on it. It's good for both parties if they leave. That's for damn sure. But when it comes down to it, Man U's stock on the New York Stock Exchange here in the States has been up like 40-50% in just the last few days on rumors that they're definitely going to sell. Right? So they're getting richer and richer every day that they stoke the fire of that. And even better, you have a rumor that circulates around that Tim Cook and Apple are looking at buying a stake in Manchester United.
Man,
it's not true.
Amazon and Bezos too.
Yeah, what? It's gonna happen. It'll happen.
Whoa, a big tech giant getting? I'd like my choice would be Sir Ratcliffe. I think he'd be the best decision because he would stay with the British. It would be the richest man in Britain getting Man United. It would stay in the country. So I could see him being the favorite. So let's put down below. Who do you think will get the ownership of Man United, man? That's a good discussion, Brenton. Jeez.
Yeah. Can you believe that we still have like 25 more days of this World Cup?
Just getting started, man. It's good stuff.
It's amazing stuff, and you've been working your butt off through this, so I commend you for that. But I gotta say, like, I'm already sick. If everybody can't tell, I am definitely fighting something. I've got a fever, and it's not COVID, but my energy was. I'm normally under Alex's energy, but today I was way under Alex's energy because I feel like I need to go to sleep. Anyway, I think it's because there's so much football. I was up at 5 a.m. this morning, happy to watch the games, and I'm gonna do it every morning until the end of this thing because it's a beautiful tournament.
The first game is at 5 a.m. Oh my days! Oh my! And the last game's at what time for your end?
2 p.m.
Hey, dude. For me, it's 7 p.m. And the first game is at 10 a.m., which is a bit
much nicer.
It's nicer, but it is weird though that matches are taking place at 10 a.m. But
think about it. Like my brother-in-law's on the West Coast. 2 a.m. 2 a.m. is when that first game starts. Then it's 5 a.m. Then it's 8. So your DVR. Your recording device is doing a whole lot of work for you. Unless you're crazy and you're waking up at 2 a.m. to watch, who was it this morning? Costa Rica.
Japan. Yeah, Costa Rica, Japan.
Right.
And that's bold, man. But if you're listening until now, people, please do not forget to like this video and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts now, and yes, subscribe to FC Wonderkid on YouTube. Thank you for listening to episode 82, and thank you for going bold with us.